So a while back, I made a video called, "Is it sacrilegious to communicate with the dead?" And I will include a link to that video because this one is essentially building on top of that one. As a professional psychic medium, I often get slapped across the face with the Bible and told that I am a necromancer, that connecting to the other side, the spirits of deceased loved ones, etc., is considered evil, and that I am essentially working for the dark by doing that because the Bible condemns it. So I am being called a necromancer. Now, this really hurts my feelings because I actually prefer being called a sorceress because it's more feminine and more accurate. What I do is actually command universal energies quite a bit, especially in my Reiki energy healing sessions. I command universal energies to heal the person's head, heart, body, etc. So the other side is all about personal power. They're not interested in weakening us at all. That's why my tagline is, "We are all superheroes." So they like to boost us up and they don't want us falling into the victim mentality, because once we fall into the victim mentality, we are weakened, we feel sorry for ourselves, then it's just poor me, and it's like everything's just happening to us. Well, if we demonstrate personal power, we, fight for what we want, for what we need, and we are also more grateful. We look around, and experience gratitude and feel more blessed, which is also boosting our power. So commanding universal energies is something we're supposed to be doing. Our soul is energy, and it's susceptible to universal energies all the time. So we're being acted upon by universal energies via the law of attraction. Whatever signal we're broadcasting out there is important. So yeah, telling people that they shouldn't connect with the other side is a fear-based decision, and it's actually weakening people. It's like the church looking at the Bible and saying, okay, well, we don't need a whole congregation of people running around trying to connect to the other side, so we're just going to make a blanket statement that it's bad, it's evil, don't do it, you suck, you don't know what you're doing, so don't even try. But here's the problem with that. Let's take a look. Here is the other side, and you've got obviously the dark, right? We're just going to make the dark look like an angry cat or something with like a beard. So you got the dark over here, and there's like a demon, and he's hanging out in like flames or whatever, right? And over here we have a lovely little angel with his little halo, and he's hanging out in the clouds. So by completely blowing off the other side, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So what you're doing is you're making a fear-based decision because you're too afraid of the dark. So you're giving the dark all this power over you to where you're just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, forget it. If I don't connect with the other side, I'm safe. Well, the dark doesn't just live in haunted houses. It's influencing you all the time. What do you think addiction is? Addiction is the dark taking over someone's soul. Depression is the dark taking over someone's soul. Fear is the dark. So if you run away from, trying to connect with the other side because of him, well, he won. Because there's nothing the dark loves more than to chase you away from your angels. He won. All right, I pulled them away from their angels. Yes, it's exactly what I wanted. Cool, yeah, don't develop your intuition. Oh, well, I got news for you. Those Bible quotes, the Bible was written by mortals, those Bible quotes telling you not to connect to the other side, Bible's speaking for the dark. The Bible's speaking for the dark in those excerpts, because what's the Bible doing? Pulling you away from your angels. And what your angels provide is extremely, extremely valuable. They can help you with your soulmates, your life purpose, whether to go left or right at each intersection. Don't get on that plane. Don't take that road trip this weekend. Angels are important. You need to develop your connection to your angels, also known as spirit guides. So don't let this dude scare you, because how much power are you giving the dark? Like, that's basically what you're doing, is you're so afraid of this dude that you're giving him all the power. And the divine, like me and my medium friends, we see the dark as flies buzzing around our head. We don't respect the dark. We don't give the dark any credence. We're just like, oh, darkness, go away. I have no time for you. Ugh. Beat it. You know, we cast darkness away from us like a storm cloud. We don't take it seriously. We disrespect it. We view evil as being weak. Yes, it's all-knowing. Yes, it's strategic. Yes, evil, you know, is powerful, but light overcomes dark. As long as you align yourself with truth, usually the dark takes over people because they're not aligned with truth. Their free will chooses the dark. Or they're a victim of someone else's free will. Usually if someone's mad, it's not at God, it's at somebody else. How could you let this happen, etc., etc. But, you know, the thing is you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't let fear take you over. You need to develop your intuition. Yeah, it takes work. Yeah, it takes time. But meditate, take classes, whatever you have to do, so that when you pray, you can hear them answer you. Because prayer isn't one-sided. You talk to them, they talk to you. That's how this works. Right? So this stuff is important. This is important to know. You know, another thing is, and I want to look at this from a purely logical standpoint, Jesus was a psychic medium. Remember, when the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times? How did he know that? That was a psychic prediction. How did he know that? Because he's connecting to the other side, who's all-knowing. When they threatened Jesus' life, why didn't he shut up and go back to being a carpenter? Yeah, when I said I was the king of the Jews, I was just kidding. I'll see you guys later. He kept talking. Why? Because he has a death wish? No, it's because he knew it's what he was supposed to be doing. And he also knew they were going to kill him. And he also knew that he was going to rise from the dead to prove that he really was the Son of God. All that divine guidance, where'd that come from? The other side. Mary, she was also a psychic medium. What kind of mom just lets her son run around town, running his mouth, having people threaten his life, and she's just like, Jesus, that guy, I'll just let him do his own thing. He really marches to the beat of his own drum, huh? Anyway, what do you guys want for dinner? What kind of mom acts like that, right? A normal mom would sit there and not let him leave the house. Say, dude, I'm serious. You need to shut up because they're going to kill you. You're my son. I love you. I can't let that happen. It's because Mary knew he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. How did she know that? Because she was a psychic medium. She had her own personal connection to the other side. Now, you could accuse her of necromancing. Who made her pregnant? The Holy Spirit. The divine gave her a baby. So she was acted upon by a Holy Spirit that lives on the other side. You could accuse her of necromancy. Really? I mean, is this starting to make sense to you guys now? These guys were all about the other side. The divine lives on the other side. So you're technically a necromancer just by praying, because you're talking to an entity that doesn't live in this dimension. Yeah, anyway. So I also don't want people casting shame at you, because shame is just meant to control people. So I don't want you guys to develop your intuition and feel like you're crazy or to be ashamed of yourself. This is not something to hide. This is something to be proud of. I made a video called Some Heartfelt Advice for Closet Intuitives. And I want to rewatch that video because I think I sound really whiny in it. And I want to kind of remake that video with a different attitude now. Because you'd be surprised like how much people's attitudes change the more they do this and the more they realize it's like, wow, this gift really is very profound and very special and very meaningful. And it does bring healing to people. So you become proud of what you do after you do this for a while. And, you know, I hope you guys do develop your intuition. I really hope you guys, you know, become proud of yourselves too. I really hope you guys shock yourselves, you know. I hope you guys shock yourselves with good things. You know, you getting downloads while you're, you know, meditating or in the shower. I get downloads while I'm on the toilet, and I have this gigantic amethyst sitting on my toilet. So I don't know why I was wondering why I kept getting all this guidance while I was on the toilet. I'm like, oh, I'm relaxed, I'm open. And then I turn around, I'm like, oh, there's a gigantic amethyst behind me. That might help. Amethyst opens the third eye. I put it there on purpose and then forgot about it. Just became like a, you know, home furnishing kind of thing. Anyway, I I want to use an extreme example of what happens when we don't develop our intuition. I was watching Pope on CNN the other day, and I was just having a lot of problems with it. Pope Pius the 12th was extremely diplomatic. During the war with Hitler, the Vatican remained very neutral. Gave a lot of like diplomatic speeches about, you know, speaking out about, you know, racial-based murders and, you know, how we should all like, you know, come together and whatever. Like, it just very, very general diplomatic speeches, never really, you know, condemning the extermination of, you know, Jews publicly, never really mentioning Hitler in particular, but just walking that fine line of, you know, being diplomatic and speaking in general terms. Well, the thing is that's not how the other side works. The Vatican had an obligation to keep the people informed and to be a leader and to speak for the divine, because the Pope represents the divine. And so if you're going to speak for the divine, you better be right. And unfortunately, in this case, he was dead wrong. Pope Pius the 12th prayed for guidance on what to do. You know, he was afraid, the stakes were high, people were dying left and right. He was praying for divine guidance on what to do. But unfortunately, he did not develop his intuition. So while he could talk to God, he couldn't hear God. So God and his angels were basically yelling at him what to do, and he couldn't hear them. That's a really, really big deal, especially when you have stakes this high. Well, number one, let me tell you how the Vatican went directly against the divine. The divine is not diplomatic in his speech at all whatsoever. He does not mince words. He doesn't worry about pissing people off or the consequences of pissing people off. He doesn't cater to ego, and he pursues truth with reckless abandon. So he would have had the Pope giving speeches every day condemning what Hitler was doing. He would have encouraged Pope Pius to rise up against him personally, and he would have encouraged Pope Pius to boost the people's personal power in rising up against Hitler and trying not to make them feel weak. So that's the way the divine works. Pope Pius's diplomatic caution did not save lives. I think it was a total moral failure, and I think it's representative of a total lack of a divine connection on his part. Because he basically was influenced by the dark, because his decisions were fear-based. And I want to use my YouTube channel as an example. They don't mince words. I don't mince words, because they speak through me to you. So if you look at my YouTube channel and you see that it's controversial, they did have me disable comments, so it's not part of my life purpose to field comments, but it's part of my life purpose to accurately represent them, and that means speaking the truth no matter what. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Suppose somebody threatened my life. I'm out there squawking, speaking my truth, doing my thing, and somebody threatened my life. Would I stop speaking my truth? No, I would not. I told you I'm a product of the other side, and I meant it. I stand behind my assertions. I stand behind the spiritual boot camp I have been through. I am a product of the other side. The divine trained me to be what I needed to be, to do what I needed to do in order to speak for him. If my life was threatened, I would continue to do what I'm supposed to do. It's what I was trained for. So when I looked at Pope Pius, I was like, you don't represent the divine at all. See how important it is to develop your connection to your angels? When you pray, you want to be able to hear them. Goes both ways. Goes both ways. So I just wanted to try to approach you guys with a bit of a different angle this time with the whole necromancing thing. I don't like how, you know, churches, religions, the Bibles try to deter you from developing your intuition, saying that it's evil, you should be afraid, blah, blah, blah. This guy have as much power as you give him. You don't give him any power, he has none. He's a deflated balloon, he's weak. Don't give him any power over you. You take back the power, you go develop your intuition, and you go kick some butt. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.